Hey, I have a system for that. Or we had a system for that. Hi entrepreneurs, I'm Vicky Brown, and you're in the right place if you want to engage your team, boost your business, and grow your leadership muscle. So, what happens when your team outgrows your systems? Not in some abstract big business way. I'm talking about the moment you realize the way you've been doing things just isn't working anymore. And it's not because your team is doing something wrong. It's because your systems weren't built for this stage of your business. Maybe people keep asking you, where do I find that file again? Or who's in charge of this? Or maybe you're spending your day answering the same 5 questions over and over and still trying to get your own work done. You're in meetings all day, or you're stuck reviewing every little detail because no one's clear on what they can do or own without you. That's not bad management. That's a system issue. You see, here's what happens when your business grows. The cracks start to show. The tools that worked when it was just you and one other person, well, they don't hold up when you've got 5 or 10 or more. The informal, we'll figure it out approach starts to break down. You know you've outgrown your systems when people are constantly asking for clarity about roles, about processes, about priorities, when things fall through the cracks, not because of laziness or carelessness, but because the system isn't holding the weight. When team members are quietly building their own procedures just to stay afloat. When they're improvising, and while that can be resourceful, it's also risky. You can find yourself being the answer key for everything, every decision, every next step. It all comes back to you. And maybe worst of all, the tools you relied on suddenly feel like they're in the way. Too many clicks, not enough clarity. Now, if that sounds familiar, first of all, you're not alone. This is one of the most common and under-discussed growing pains for small business owners. And weirdly enough, it's a good sign. It means you're growing. You've built something that people want to be a part of, but now it's time to evolve how it runs. You see, most of us build systems for the size we are when we start. We choose tools that are affordable, fast, and easy. We keep things informal because it feels personal. And when it's just a couple of people, that works. But growth changes the game. Growth reveals the weak spots. It surfaces the things that weren't a big deal before, but now they are. That's not failure, that's feedback. Now, if you've reached this point, congratulations. It means your team is big enough to need structure, and that's a milestone. But here's the catch. If you don't evolve, the very growth you worked for can start to work against you, because doing nothing has consequences. Burnout starts creeping in for you and your team. Everyone's working harder just to keep the wheels turning. And when there's no clear process, people lose motivation. They start checking out because the environment feels messy or unfair. Good people will leave, and the ones who stay may start to coast, not out of laziness, but out of frustration. And if you're the one holding it all together, your role shifts from leader to bottleneck. Every approval, every detail, every correction, it runs straight through you. Well, that's not sustainable. And worst of all, if the chaos goes unchecked long enough, it becomes culture. People stop expecting clarity. They stop asking for support. They just get used to making do. And that's a hard thing to undo once it sets in. So, what do? How do you fix your systems without losing the human touch, without turning your business into a machine? Well, start by asking your team, what's working? What's frustrating? Where are the gaps? Your team lives in the systems every day. They know what's broken, and they usually have good ideas about how to fix it. Next, resist the urge to over-engineer. Don't build a giant solution for a small problem. Tighten what already exists, clean up workflows, clarify roles, make sure people know where to find things, how to get approvals, and what happens next. Then look at your tools. You don't need to invest in something massive, you just need the right tool. Maybe that's a better file sharing system, or a task manager, or a shared calendar that actually gets used. Choose something that matches where you are and gives you room to grow. Now, as you go through this process, standardize just enough. You don't need a 50-page manual for absolutely everything. But templates, checklists, and clear handoffs, well, they make a big difference. You want people to feel supported, but most definitely not micromanaged. And through it all, stay human. Systems should serve people, not the other way around. So protect the connection, the flexibility, and the sense of team that got you here in the first place. That's your culture, and that's your edge. Now, let's talk about your role in all this, because scaling your systems means scaling your leadership too. You have to shift from doing to designing. Your job isn't just to execute anymore. It's to build the environment where others can execute. And that means putting structures in place that don't rely on your constant presence. It means delegating authority, not just tasks. If someone has to check with you every time, they don't really own it, and you're not really free. You'll also need to communicate differently. When your team is small, you can talk things out in real time. But as you grow, you need more structured communication. Team meetings, shared documentation, expectations in writing. And yes, that means getting comfortable with documentation. Now, I know it feels slower, but that investment of time is what frees you up later. When people know where to look, they stop needing you to explain it. And that's how you start scaling. Now, here are a few things to watch out for as you make this shift. Don't over-engineer. If you're spending more time setting up the system than actually using it, well, that's a red flag. Don't hop from tool to tool, chasing the perfect platform. That creates more confusion than clarity. Choose something, learn it well, and stick with it long enough to see results. Make sure your team's voice stays in the mix. If you build a system for them, but not with them, it probably won't stick. People commit to what they help create. And finally, be willing to let go of what used to work. That's how we've always done it is not a good enough reason to keep a broken system. Here's the truth. Growth doesn't mean letting go of what made you great. You don't have to trade culture for control. You don't have to become a rigid operation to become a better one. But you do have to be intentional, because when your systems catch up to your team, well, that's when things really start to move. That's when you stop managing chaos and start building momentum. That's when you scale without losing the vibe. Remember, your inspired leadership is the secret sauce to having a high-performance team and a wildly successful business you'll love. I'll see you next time on Leader's Journey.